motion. As I rise to second the motion, Mr. Speaker, on the Forum of Parliaments in the Great Lakes region that happened last year, 2024. Mr. Speaker, I want to agree that as Great Lakes Union, he has highlighted a number of challenges that we face as a region, Mr. Speaker, sir. And one of the, somebody said, Mr. Speaker, that African problems need African solutions. We know in these Great Lake regions, as he has highlighted, a number of challenges in DRC Congo about the M23, the reaction of Rwanda related. So, Speaker, the issue, the crisis we are looking at South Sudan, where the former Prime Minister is leading mediation under the able appointment of the His Excellency President William Ruto, between Riek Machar and the first Vice President. So, Speaker, that country is interesting. It has almost 6 vice presidents or 5 thereabout. I hope in Kenya we can have a number of vice presidents in future together per region, because I know there is a unique arrangement, power agreement and peace agreement in South Sudan that pushes. So the first vice president, Mr. Speaker, and there was a killing of a general that has triggered the crisis. And Mr. Speaker, you have to appreciate that Kenya becomes a victim or a collateral damage in the instability in this region, because Kenya hosts one of the biggest refugee camp, Kakuma, Mr. Speaker, in this region. So when there is instability in South Sudan, it affects this country because there is influx of refugees that come from that region. Not only South Sudan nowadays, Mr. Speaker, you see there is fighting in Sudan, the main Sudan, Mr. Speaker, between Rapid Support Forces, RSF, Mr. Speaker. We still have a bigger challenge that goes on in that region, Mr. Speaker. So it is still, this region of Great Lakes, Mr. Speaker, we must have peace and security for development, for investment in this region, Mr. Speaker. And therefore it goes without saying that we must relook at this region. Even what is happening in, Mr. Speaker, in DRC Congo, between the fighting that we are seeing, the rebel forces and the government are fighting. Mr. Speaker, we saw the meeting that happened in Qatar between President Tshisekedi and President Kagame, Mr. Speaker. But it looks like that process is a bit slow. We want this region to be stable, Mr. Speaker, especially Great Lakes region, because one, it's unique. We have a very unique climate. You can see the rainforest that straddles across the Central African Republic all the way into DRC Congo, Mr. Speaker. We also need to relook at the issue of minerals in the region. We have had allegations that the reason Sudan is fighting is because there are minerals which has not been substantiated, Mr. Speaker. There is the issue of oil. So this region, Great Lakes region, Mr. Speaker, has a unique aspects that needs to be redefined. And as Parliament, Mr. Speaker, I have not seen, and I hope and I've seen the recommendation of this report, is that we need to be part of appropriating necessary resources. As a Parliament, in most of these organizations, the Secretariat of Great Lakes region, Mr. Speaker, even we are members of African Union, we are members of East Africa Union, we are members, and East Africa Union, EAC, Mr. Speaker, where now DRC and other countries like Rwanda, Burundi, Kenya, Tanzania, and other regions, Mr. Speaker, are part of this conversation. But, Mr. Speaker, we did visit, I think early this year, the East Africa Secretariat in Arusha. And they're doing a good job. If you see the connection, because also we must look at the transport, if you see the connection that they are getting, these countries like Rwanda, Burundi, all these regions, Mr. Speaker, are relying on this network that passes through Kenya, the northern corridor that supplies goods and services across this region. But the Secretariat does not have sufficient resources to push. So as a Parliament, we have a unique role. You know, Mr. Speaker, when issues of insecurity, instability in this region happens, we rarely listen to the voice of the Parliament. So I want to agree with the recommendation that Parliament has a role in appropriation of necessary resources to facilitate some of this Secretariat, and also relook, Mr. Speaker, on emerging issues, like even climate change. Apart from the traditional issues of peace, security, Mr. Speaker, we must also be alive to the changes that is happening in this region, Mr. Speaker, by ensuring, and I think Kenya, Mr. Speaker, in the last session, before the African Climate Summit happened here in KICC, this House passed a number of legislation to bring climate intervention mechanisms, and I hope our friends from Great Lake region, which majority come from East Africa region, Mr. Speaker, are able to relook at those aspects so that we can be able, Mr. Speaker, to engage. Mr. Speaker, looking at the conversation that you're having as interparliamentary challenges is, I don't know, when the issue of peace and security is being engaged, I don't know the role and the place of parliament from Great Lake region. Because when the negotiations between Rwanda, the DRC, between DRC and M23, Mr. Speaker, between RSF and fighting in Sudan, between Salva Kiir Mayardit and also, Mr. Speaker, and Riek Machar, the first vice president of South Sudan. Where is the place, Mr. Speaker? And then what is the role of United Nations human refugees, UNHCR, Mr. Speaker? Because Kenya is hosting one of the biggest, largest refugees in this country. And therefore, it is very important that we must have this conversation, Mr. Speaker, so that we can see where the role of in the human rights, United Nations on issues of refugees. And you have heard, Mr. Speaker, I remember there was a question when the CS of Interior appeared over the issue of reintegration of refugees from Kakuma. And the local communities are not so comfortable with reintegration, where now they need to reintegrate the refugees, Mr. Speaker, coming against the backdrop where people are being deported from countries like, so we are likely to see crisis going into the future where people like United States of America are deporting, Mr. Speaker, a number of individuals who do not have citizenship status. So now the issue we need to relook, Mr. Speaker, what is the aspect and the role of refugees vis-a-vis peace and security, which this committee noted, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this commitment, we have known sometimes it becomes a challenge to African initiative to solve security challenges in the Great Lake region and support efforts at promoting peace and stability in member states beset with conflict and instability. Mr. Speaker, the greatest source of security and instability in Great Lake region is most of these governments also. Sometimes us in leadership are a source of insecurity in these regions that we are discussing about. So the issue is, how do we promote peace and stability in this region? We must, Mr. Speaker, agree that the only way this region can become stable is to adhere to constitutional principles of rule of law, democracy, so that the reason there is fighting within Great Lake region, majority of them, Mr. Speaker, is because of access to power and resources. The challenge as the Senate of Kenya should call upon colleagues in Great Lake region, including parliaments, is to ensure the appropriation of resources in our parliaments within Great Lake region follow the principle of equality, equity, rule of law, democracy, and respect to constitutionalism and the Constitution, so that we can promote peace and security. In fact, when you go to Sudan, South Sudan, Rwanda, DRC, among other countries that are facing instability, the reason they are fighting is because of power. The reason they are fighting is because of resources. The reason they are fighting is because of negative ethnicity that we are discussing about this, Mr. Speaker. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, even from our own counties, because the Senate under Article 86 protects the interest of counties, if you can see the increment of negative ethnicity within our counties, Mr. Speaker, that is how we see the reflection in other countries that we see across the nation. So, Mr. Speaker, if we want to promote peace and stability, it is only for Parliament to stand with the people to push for rule of law, democracy, equitable and equality in terms of shareable of resources across the Great Lakes region, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, number 3, in peace and security, I hope these things can be achieved. Mr. Speaker, enact legislation to impact on climate change. I have made this comment, which are very good recommendation. I think Kenya, if I'm not wrong, Kenya should be one of the biggest countries, Mr. Speaker, that is pushing for the climate change laws. And therefore, I hope, Mr. Speaker, Kenya is the leader, not only in Africa, but also Great Lake Unions, because we hosted the African Climate Summit that has never been hosted in this region, Mr. Speaker. And we have enacted the laws that are related with climate challenges and climate issues that we face as a country, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, I want to allow, in fact, Mr. Speaker, the East Africa community, which is largely part of Great Lake region, should just reintegrate the climate laws that we have passed as a Parliament of the Republic of Kenya, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, natural resources, I think this is fine. Mr. Speaker, there is I don't know, the late Kambarage Mwalimu Julius Nyerere. Is it the national park between, is it Tanzania and Zambia? I'm told during Julius Kambarage Nyerere regime, he set aside that park. I don't know whether it's called Tangarire or something. There is a name that park is called, where no one has stepped with it. And that directional degree by the late Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere, Mr. Speaker, and I don't know whether we will get presidents of such statures in future, where people protected the natural resources, Mr. Speaker. I'm just winding up, Mr. Speaker. I don't know why the senator of Narok wants to go, yet our business is to legislate and represent, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the issue of natural resources is a very important issue that we must relook at it, Mr. Speaker. And I'm making a very pregnant point, Mr. Speaker. I remember in the last session, we never had peace in this house because Senator Ledama Olekina was complaining about Mao Forest. And I'm making one of the very critical importance on protecting natural resources. I remember he even took Jeff Koinange of Citizen TV to plant trees. I don't know, he needs to brief the House. How far are those trees in Mao region? We need to protect natural resources, Mr. Speaker, in these regions. Even the Masai Mara, I'm told it is being transferred to Narok County. Is it also Kajiado County? We need also those parks that are being transferred by the resources. The wildlife must be protected for future. Even protecting the corridors of movement of animals or wild animals across the region, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, so that I can allow my colleagues also to contribute, I want to commend the mover of the motion, Senator Waume Wamatinga, the Commissioner of Parliamentary Service Commission, that this is very important, that as a Great Lakes Union, as a Parliament, as a Senate, we must provide direction in terms of legislation to ensure there is rule of law, democracy, political instability, peace and security. There can never be peace, Mr. Speaker. There can never be development without peace. There must be peace and security, Mr. Speaker, especially in this region. Mr. Speaker, I normally see the opponents of government pushing for narratives that want to undermine the peace and stability of this nation, even using our children, Mr. Speaker, to advance their own political selfish agenda. Article 53 is very clear. We should not exploit our children to push for our own narrative, Mr. Speaker. And that is why some individuals, even if you want to oppose government, call for political rallies where adults are and state your position. Don't use our children. We saw the story of Butere girls were echoes of war, Mr. Speaker. People are perpetuating instability. They are trying to use our children to drive and disrespect the leadership, disrespect the government, disrespect the parents, Mr. Speaker, because one funny thing with these people who are using children, they will only not disrespect the government or the president or the leaders. They will go ahead and disrespect the parents at their homes, and it becomes a problem. So I want to urge leaders, and it is unfortunate some of these leaders have been in elective position, Mr. Speaker, that they are using to disadvantage. And I wish many people would listen to the speech of youth leader the other day when he spoke with wisdom in Siaya during the burial of George Odwar, the aide of his brother, which he did a good job. If I can get such an aide, Mr. Speaker, you can imagine how far you can go. So, Mr. Speaker, that is the issue we should, and you know, Mr. Speaker, the champions of this instability are also chief tribal mobilizers, Mr. Speaker. They are the chief tribal mobilizers. They use their communities to demobilize, and the negative animosity, troking tribal animosity, is what is generating all this, Mr. Speaker. So I want to ask leaders who want power in this country to give us alternative plan against people who we are in government. Instead of giving us sideshow, instead of stoking tribal animosity, Mr. Speaker, like the governor of Trans Nzoia, Mr. Speaker, we need to stop and ensure that we preach peace, Mr. Speaker. Let us, and I want to ask Ministry of Education to call out teachers who want to use our children to advance and being used by selfish political agenda, Mr. Speaker. We cannot allow this country to be run down by individuals. Because now, Mr. Speaker, you will receive courtesy of your office that all wazes in the country have received 2,000 shillings, even before the salary of public servants have been given. Which government has ever done that? Mr. Speaker, as we talk today, the affordable housing program is on course. We had the CS of ICT was here, the issue of connectivity. We need to connect the Great Lake region with the issue of connectivity, Mr. Speaker. The trajectory of development is going in a very proper, Mr. Speaker. So I want to ask people who want to criticize government, Mr. Speaker, they say if a lizard wants to wear a trouser, it should decide which side of the tail it should go. With those many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to second this motion and I thank.
Honourable Senators, I'll proceed to propose the question that the Senate notes the report of the 14th Ordinary Session